All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Sustainability Strategy Summit. Today's interview is with Lisa Geason-Bauer, founder and president of Evolution Marketing, Wisconsin's first triple bottom line managed consulting firm. Lisa focuses on strategic communication and sustainable business operations with clients across the states. Lisa is a generous advocate for systems change, sharing across many platforms about environmental and social sustainability, focusing on topics like employee engagement, supply chain management, sustainable agriculture, alternative fuel vehicles, community engagement, and corporate social responsibility. Lisa is a leader in our community and has won numerous awards. In fact, those of you listening likely know Lisa. Today, we're going to focus our conversation on small business sustainability and driving systems change. Lisa, welcome.
Hi, Jesse. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here for the inaugural summit, right?
Yeah, thank you. All right, let's start by just having you tell us about your business.
Okay, so Evolution Marketing was founded in 2007, and we're currently located in Neshota, but we hail in the greater Oconomowoc area. So we're proud Oconomowoc community members. Evolution Marketing is a sustainability consultancy first and foremost. And what that means is we help our clients engage in bringing a new product to market, or if they want to implement a program, like an employee engagement program with their workforce. And then the second part of what we do, and this is where we're really unique and really a niche within a niche, is that we help with the Marcom as well. So because we understand the wonky language associated with sustainability, we can then help our clients to tell their sustainability story, whether it's to their workforce or bring a new product to market.
Awesome. Wonderful. So, okay, as a small business, Lisa, you've been at sustainability for a while. I know you said 14 years you've been in business. So, congratulations there.
Thank you.
What tips do you have for other small businesses? So, maybe how did you determine what priorities you had and how did you weave sustainability into your operations and decision making?
All right, great question, Jesse. So first, I would say start with where your values are. So my background is sustainable agriculture. So I learned all about carbon sequestration and literally climate change and carbon management back in the 90s when I was in graduate school. So for me, that's always been very important. And growing up on a dairy farm, again, understanding carbon and agriculture was super important. So when I started Evolution Marketing, I really wanted to operate the business as you said, in triple bottom line. But really for me, the triple bottom line looked like how can we reduce or address carbon in our system? So how can I operate this business in a way that's as close to carbon neutral as possible? So reduce how much energy we're using, reduce, the impacts that we're having on the natural world. So one, I'd say start with your values. So what do your values say? How do your values predicate the decisions you're going to make? So for me, it was putting together a carbon footprint in 2008. So we started in 2007. We did our first carbon footprint in 2008. And what we found out is the majority of our carbon footprint was literally in the vehicle miles traveled for our car. And it was a huge number. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. This is what I now know where my carbon footprint is. So what we did at that point is we used that knowledge to make the strategic decision to be the first business in Wisconsin to buy the all-electric Nissan Leaf, which did not come to market until 2012. So I have a Nissan Leaf, was the first business here to get it. I love my Leaf. I put money down in 2000, I believe it was 2009, maybe when the Nissans were coming out, because I knew that I could address my carbon footprint by switching to an alternative fuel vehicle, or in this case, an all-electric vehicle.
Awesome. Do you have any other examples of small business, a way a small business can weave sustainability into their operations?
Yeah, okay, I have a lot of examples, so you might have to stop me. I think one of the things that most people don't think about that I like to call low-hanging fruit is your electricity. So do you know how much, I mean, I know that there are a lot of people who rent. Okay, so you have a landlord, your landlord may include heat and cooling, electricity and natural gas may be included in your lease, but it may not. So if you have control over your space, figure out how much money you're spending in natural gas and electricity every year. And then one of the things that we can all do that's pretty simple to do is you can contract your electricity company and you can ask them to purchase renewable energy. So that's again a really easy first step. So for example, Right now at the Evolution Marketing Office, we purchase renewable energy through We Energy. So yes, I'm paying a premium to do that, but I'm hoping that by paying a premium for the last several years to We Energies, that will help We Energies to know that there's a whole lot of people in southeastern Wisconsin that want renewable energy, and so they should be making investments into renewable energy, which they are, you know. Um, so that's something that's kind of an easy way to begin. The other thing too is once you look at how much energy you have, so really begin by measuring and monitoring what you're doing, right? And so basic stuff would be your electricity, your natural gas, your water. You know, so if you are in a municipality, you probably have access to your water data. How much are you using? How much water are you using, right? Um, the other thing would be, so these are called kind of like the EMS things, environmental management systems. So water, energy, electricity, what am I missing there? I mean, carbon is then like kind of like the last one of that, but they're like these are the basic things you can say.
Waste.
Waste. Thank you. Waste. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Jesse. I can't believe I forgot that. So, okay, at our office, we actually measure our waste. Last year, I believe our diversion rate was 98.5%. So that means we diverted the majority of our waste. We measure all of our recyclables, and we have a robust composting program at our office. Again, composting might be a little bit more difficult to start up, but even when we started Evolution Marketing, we did on-site composting. Now I'm lucky to have a farmer client of ours who picks up all of our compost, which is priceless because let me just tell you, on-site composting, my husband was not a fan of. That didn't go over as well as I thought it would go over.
Yeah, composting can be a love or hate relationship for sure.
Yes, it can.
Yeah.
Especially in a small, city lot. You know? Um,
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I mean, these are really straightforward things that people can do that they might not be realizing is easy to do, even if you're not in a big office building or, you're not a larger business. These are simple things you can integrate into your day to day.
I have another one, Jesse. Okay, not to cut
Yeah.
you off, but I have another one. Um, the reality is we can use our money to make choices, right? So one of the things that we do at Evolution Marketing is we really strive to support. So when I hire other subcontractors, I strive to hire women-owned businesses or BIPOC, so Black, Indigenous, or people of color-owned businesses that are my preference is women-owned as well, so that or LGBTQ plus owned businesses. So we make that distinction when we go to buy services. Same thing when we go to buy paper products, for example. We have a policy at the Evolution Marketing Office that all of the paper products, so whether it's marketing material that's getting printed up or it's notebook of paper, or folders or even post-it notes, will be FSC certified, and they will contain at least 30% recycled content. Now, many things contain 100% recycled content, but I can't always get, for example, folders. It's really hard to get 100% recycled content folders. I don't know why, but it is. So my point is that I use my money and I put that money into making the most environmentally and socially responsible decisions I can each day. And so that doesn't have anything to do with my building. So in case
Right.
you are renting and you can't control your building, here's things you can do with your resources.
Well, that's great. And that goes back to the values piece you brought up. What are your business values and how can you pay those values forward by selecting service providers or products that match those values also? Awesome.
Yep.
So I know you have a fairly robust internship program. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, I can. So I love my interns. Let me start off with like a little backstory about why I think interns are so important. I grew up on a dairy farm here in Delafield, Wisconsin, and on the dairy farm, everything I learned how to do was trained. I learned it through it's called on the job training. So when my dad said, "Lisa, you need to help us milk cows," I didn't go take a class to learn how to milk cows. I worked with my dad and my uncle and they showed me how to milk cows. And I learned how to milk the cows and I was like, "Oh, okay." And that's how everything on the farm was that way. It was literally on the job training. So to me, I think it's really important, especially with interns, to provide them with real life skill sets, real life tactics, tools, and skills that they can use in the workspace that they're not getting per se at the university, especially because our discipline is so young, right? I mean, so we're in the 16th year of sustainability as a career. So it's wonderful now that there are sustainability programs for undergrad and graduate students, but in a lot of cases, those programs are more on the theory side and in the history of the sustainability movement. The students aren't getting the practical, pragmatic tools that you would in a workplace. So all of my interns Therefore, for me, I think it's really important to teach all of my interns these tools, because what I hear about from all of my colleagues who own businesses is they want their young staff that they're hiring to literally have these tools, and they want them to be able to help them to do something that they don't know how to do. So at the Evolution Marketing Office, my interns literally get the opportunity to use sustainability tools such as the Green Masters program, or the SDG Action Manager, which is a way to look at how your business is showing up tied to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or the B Impact Assessment. My interns fill out those applications and forms for Evolution Marketing. So we pretend that I'm the client and they're the consultant, and they complete this information for our business. And then through doing that, they learn practical skills. And then once we've submitted the applications, of course, I let them know what scores we get, And so, for example, last summer, Emma did our Green Masters program application, and we came in as a master's company. So as soon as I heard back from you, Jesse, that we'd come in as a master company, I let Emma know, and she was so excited. And it helped Emma to learn about how to frame out sustainability and what does a sustainability consultant do by completing that application.
Mhm.
Because that's something that, again, you don't know unless you don't know what you don't know, right? And so a lot of these tools are new and they are emerging. So I really think it's important to help my young interns have these experiences. That's not that they don't get to work with Evolution Marketing clients, but they actually, with our clients, they observe the process, and they get to see how we work as a team, and they get to offer insight, but they're not actually working on client projects. They're observing, right? They treat Evolution Marketing as their client. So we become their client. And so that way, if something doesn't work out, no harm, no foul, it's on Evolution Marketing, right? It's not on our clients. But I think it's really good to have the students have these real world experiences, because then they're accountable for what they've created too. And so, for example, on the current Evolution Marketing website, Lena, my spring semester intern, she created it's like, I call it a microsite. We have 3 little microsites on our site that talk about people, planet, and profit. And Lena helped curate all the information, and she literally helped connect in the SDGs tied to how we define, social side of sustainability, and then put together a whole bunch of resources there. So this is something that she did as her internship. And as she was learning and going through her internship, she would add resources. So she learned how to do web development. She learned how to make microsites. She learned how to do branding, and she learned how to communicate all of this through this project, right? I mean, how amazing is that?
Awesome. Absolutely. I mean, the learning is in the doing. I've always believed that, or at least that's how it works
Mhm.
for me. And so you're giving them real world practical experience with what they might do when they are done with school. So I think that's wonderful. And I think it's a really great example of how a small business can get support around their sustainability programs, that's not going to cost them a lot of money. And it is really developing like a win-win type of relationship. So
No, agreed. And I know that we talked about this before, but like as we're showing up now in the workplace, I really want to create the next Lisa, right? So when I
yeah,
think about my interns that I've had, they're all amazing. They're all going to be great leaders. And at some point, 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, if they want to come back as a professional, I would love to have them. So I think too, it's thinking about that longer term of how I'm investing time in their education now, but
mhm.
down the way, they may come back and be an employee for Evolution Marketing. So I think that's also something to think about too, and also they're out in the world getting experiences, and they're having a positive impact. So
Yeah,
it's a win-win, I think, all around.
definitely developing future sustainability leaders.
Mhm.
Great. Well, I want to ask, what trends do you see that small businesses right now should be paying attention to?
All right, well, there's a lot of trends happening right now. I mean, we're coming out of COVID. So the first one I'm going to talk about is workforce, and workforce engagement. Um, so the reality is the way we work has changed tremendously due to COVID. And because we're coming out of COVID now, businesses and workers are rethinking what's important to them, right? And they're rethinking how they want to work, and what the expectations are. So with all of that said, I think the reality is we all as business owners need to be aware that we're entering, it's called the sandemic, and that means without people. So we as the United States, and the world is in the same boat, but the US is probably more so. we're entering a phase in our time where we don't have enough people to fill the spots in the jobs that are out there. So the last time we had a replacement rate for Americans was in 1971. So before you and I were born, Jesse, that was the last time everybody replaced themselves. We don't have
Wow.
that anymore. So what we do have now is we have 7.5 million jobs that are sitting un that are what's the word? They're unfilled. So 7.5 million jobs in 2021 are unfilled. That number's only going to get stronger. We're also seeing a trend in work age men, so men 18 to 30, who are choosing not to enter the workforce full time, but to enter the workforce part time, and then to live with their baby boomer parents and or grandparents who have a median household wealth of $1.2 million. So these big shifts that are happening right now are impacting. And by the way, these men, these 18 to 30-year-old men, are also choosing not to get married. They're also choosing not to have children. So they don't want to work full time. They don't want to get married. They don't want to have kids. So this big shift is happening in work. And so what does that mean? That means that we're not going to have enough people to fill the positions we've got. Yes, AI is coming and artificial intelligence and all this cool tech is wonderful, but we still, even with all of that, we're not going to be able to replace all of the people. So that means we really need to put people first. As employers and as folks working in the sustainability space, we really need to put a focus on, I call the social side of sustainability or the people side. So that means employers need to really engage their workforce. They need to know what their workers want. They need to think through with their workers how is the best way to help their workers show up and to help make sure their workers are happy, right? I mean, we were talking about before the fact that we're entering this time now. It's called the Great Resignation. So, I mean, the CEO of LinkedIn just did a video this last week talking about the Great Resignation and how so many people on LinkedIn are resigning their positions and whether they're going to work for somebody else or they're going to take some time off to refigure out what they want to do, or they're going to start their own business. And I think this is what we're starting to see is a lot more opportunities where individuals have said, COVID changed. COVID forced us to go inside, look at ourselves, what we're doing. And they said, I don't like what I'm doing. What I'm doing, it doesn't fulfill me. It doesn't make me happy. So now we're having this huge shift happening. And I think the biggest thing that we all should be aware of is the way we work today is not how we're going to work in 5 years. I don't know what it looks like. I mean, I could make predictions and say this is what I think is going to happen, but we don't know because this is all emerging, right? I mean, the Wisconsin Public Policy Forum suggests that this is their projection that by 2024, 60% of jobs will not require a four-year degree. And with that, many jobs will just require high school or some level of on-the-job training. Only about 10% will require an associate's degree, with 30% expected to require a bachelor's or professional degree. So just that projection alone is huge. Then you think about these other data points I've been talking about. I mean, so basically, the way we work is transforming right now. It's going through a huge transformation, and we all need to be aware of it and then conscious of it as we're making decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that I've read statistics around the number of people starting their own business right now, and particularly starting businesses to solve social and environmental issues. So there's also a huge rise in kind of social entrepreneurship, which is just fascinating and awesome.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's a huge emphasis. I try to think of the last 10 businesses I've talked to who are starting up in Wisconsin. All of them were social enterprises. I was trying to think, did I have one that was not? No, they all want to either be a benefit corporation, a certified B Corp, be a social enterprise. Um, they don't want to be a nonprofit. They want to be social enterprises, a
Yeah.
for-profit business
Yeah.
solving the world's social problems. And this is the reality of the situation, right? That people want to make the world better because guess what? I mean, how much has changed in our life, in our working careers, Jesse, right? I mean, we've went through two recessions. I mean, we went through the Great Recession. We just went through a pandemic and another recession. I don't know what they're calling this recession, pandemic recession. You know, we've also went through a lot of climate disasters that have occurred. I mean, we live in Wisconsin, so we're pretty lucky. But I mean, if we were in New York, I mean, my gosh, they've suffered tons of climate disasters and lots of things have happened just I'm talking just from 2007 on, right? And there's been a lot of things that have happened that's then shaped how we think about the future of the world, right? And sustainability at its core is about, will you be able to survive, right? So So, I mean, will your business be able to survive, if you're not addressing these things? I don't think it can. I think you
Right.
have to address the climate. I think you have to address the people, right? Or you're not going to be in business. I just think
Yeah.
that's the reality of the situation we're in.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about sustainability is thinking long term, right? Like businesses historically make so many short-term decisions, but really the framework of thinking about sustainability really gets us thinking about 10, 20, 30 years down the road. And if you're not thinking about where your business is going to be in that amount of time frame, you might not be thinking about its legacy. And some of these trends that you're speaking to, you know, might affect the way you're doing business or might affect your business overall.
Or you won't be in business, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I remember in 2007, one of the first Oconomowoc Chamber events I went to after I started Evolution Marketing. And there was somebody that was speaking at the event who I know you and I know well. I'm not going to say his name, but we both know him. He was with the Wisconsin DNR, and he had said in front of the group of people, if you're not thinking about sustainability, this is 2007, you're not going to be in business in 5 years. And I thought, wow, this is such a bold statement for this individual from the DNR to make. And the next year, what happened? The Great Recession. And how many
Mhm.
businesses went out of business because they weren't thinking about resource conservation? They weren't thinking about the sustainability of their business. And I think about that now. And to me, now, today, it's if you're not thinking about addressing your workforce, your people, if you're not thinking about how your business can be a better corporate citizen, and address environmental sustainability and social sustainability, you're probably not going to be in business because the market is shifting and changing. And the thing is, the data that's out there, whether it's through Cone Communications or Porto Novelli, there's all kinds of research out there that literally talks about consumers want business to solve social problems. And not only does consumers, employees want their employers to sort of solve social problems. So we as small business owners, if we have our workforce wants us to operate in an environmentally and socially responsible manner. And so they'll even help us. That's the cool thing about the people side. We can actually leverage the younger people that are coming to work at our companies to help address these problems because they want to make a difference. They want to help the company that they work for be better and do better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that can be an untapped resource is your own employees and their ideas, right? I
Mhm.
don't think business leaders ask their employees what they want and need enough, right? They either assume or they do what's best for the the business, which can be very short-sighted. So, Lisa, I wanted to ask you about, you're B Corp certified. Can you share some of the benefits that you've seen from getting certification?
Sure. So we got certified in 2018, and Leah, my intern at the time, who's now our marketing associate, she did our B Corp impact assessment. So that was part of her training for her internship. Anyway, since we've become a B Corp, I tell you what, some really good things have happened. Now, I haven't taken advantage of all of them, right? But I've been reached or I've interacted with folks who want to either buy evolution marketing or give evolution marketing money to grow. So there's a whole investor side that has
Mm.
tied into the B Corp movement. And I would argue that once you become a certified B Corp, there's a group of investors who are really interested in environment, sustainability, and governance. And so they want to invest in businesses like my business. Now, I'm not saying we're doing any of those things, but if I was amazed, the emails I got and the phone calls I got from investors from outside of Wisconsin who were really interested in the work that Evolution Marketing was doing. So that's the first thing. If I wanted to, I could take advantage of that. I have not, but that's okay, right? It's my
Yeah.
prerogative as the owner of the company. The second thing that's been really great is the fact that we have a new market differentiator. Now, evolution marketing has not changed the way we've operated. We've operated the same way since 2007. We're triple bottom line. The only thing that's different is now I have a third party that has audited my systems and it's giving me this credential, this beautiful B Corp logo that I get to use. Here, the B Corp logo, that I get to use on my marketing materials. And that now signals to the marketplace that evolution marketing is part of this elite group of businesses. There's only 4,000 of us in the entire world, and we are audited for our social and environmental performance. So that means the things that we are doing are the best for the people and the planet. And I've got this third party that's saying it. So that has put me into a different place where I'm attracting new clients who want that. They want to hire a business who has these third party credentials. And again, nothing has changed in how we're operating, but my opportunity to garner new markets and new work has increased tremendously by becoming a certified B Corp. I have clients of mine that have become certified B Corps that have grown their market share because they're in the CPG space. And when you're in the CPG space, you have additional access to markets because some of the folks that are the distribution levels are also certified B Corps. So they want to have other certified B Corps in their supply chain. So, I think there's a variety of different really great benefits that have come about it. Plus, I'm not going to lie, the networking is amazing. I'm part of a group of female CEO B Corp leaders, and we're from around the world. So during COVID, this group of amazing women, like we shared information, we shared resources, we shared strategies. They really helped me to get through COVID because we could talk about in a way with this group of other amazing women the challenges we were facing, and then how would we address those challenges in a more equitable way, because there are other B Corp women who have the same values I do. So
Right.
so to me, that was priceless.
Awesome. Really, really great. And I know you and I have often talked about this, how, our Green Masters program is kind of an on-road to sustainability. It really helps a small business organize around sustainability, get started, learn what they should measure and track and monitor, and essentially build a program, right? And so that's why I like to call it an on road to sustainability. And B Corp is really, taking it to a next level, if that makes sense for your business, and what great
Yes.
benefits.
No, I totally agree. And honestly, we were a Green Masters company for, I think, 4 years maybe before we became a certified B Corp. We were a master's company for a number of years before we did our B Corp certification. And the reason we did our B Corp certification in 2018 was because I saw the change happening in the market space.
Yeah.
There are now over 3,500 certifications for sustainability out there in the market space, in the food and the CPG space, right? There's so many. And honestly, those third-party certifications, that's what the public wants. They want
Right.
somebody to say you're doing X, especially coming out of coming out of COVID and coming out of the way we've talked about media and everything else, this whole fake news era and all of that. So
Yeah.
if I'm saying I'm doing something, I need a third party to verify that I'm actually doing the things I say I'm doing, even though I've been doing these things all along. Now I
Right.
have those third party certifications, and that only strengthens the work that I'm doing, because it's really being transparent, because I think we're in this era right now of uber transparency, not just regular transparency. I'm talking uber transparency.
Right, right. You're right. And it communicates to, whether it's, whatever your stakeholder is, your value system, right? Like it tells them, without them having to do the research on you, more about who you are, that they can trust that, And so I think that trust is also really important in the marketplace
Oh,
today.
trust is huge, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
to me, trust goes right along. Trust is part of is this company solving a social problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We've seen it time and time again where brands have come out and they've said something, they've done something that doesn't actually resonate. They've made a statement. I don't want to use an example because I don't want to give credence to any of the brands that have done this, but they've made a statement, and then either their workers or somebody in their supply chain has said, well, that's actually not true,
Right.
and that's not good. From a crisis communication standpoint, that's really, really bad. You
Right.
can spend 50 years building your brand, and then one miscommunication could completely destroy it.
Right.
So that's why, when you talk about sustainability, I think it's important because you're sharing in an open and transparent manner what you're doing, because the public does want to know. They do care. Now, it may
Yeah.
not be all the public. It might be the public members that are 45 and under, or it might be, we like to talk about a new mother is the most likely person in the world to buy organic, right? Because they have a new baby and they want everything to be perfect for the new baby, so
Yeah.
organic food, organic clothing, organic bed sheets, and so
Yeah.
there's market research out there on that. But there's a whole lot of other people who maybe want organic, but they're not a new mother, right? So we have target markets, but we also have shifts that are happening in the world right now, right? And you can't ignore it.
Yeah.
These trends are real, right?
Yeah. So tell me this. So, okay. So B Corp certification is a wonderful thing. And how can a small business just communicate about their efforts if they're not quite ready to, get a certification? What are some small ways they can communicate what they're doing in sustainability?
Sure. So the first thing you need to do is you need to write down your story. I'm going to use corporate social responsibility as an example. So whether we like to talk about social impact reports, they're different than sustainability reports, but basically what your business is doing and how it's impacting the community. So for a traditional corporate social responsibility report, or now social impact report, you would tell the story of maybe the number of hours you've donated to nonprofits working in your community, or the amount of money your business has given to nonprofits working in the community. And you would tell that story over time. Or maybe there's a project you worked on. So for example, Evolution Marketing is part of 1% for the Planet. So 1% for the Planet is a nonprofit, and they actually every year look at the donations that Evolution Marketing makes in cash and in professional services to environmental nonprofits. And WSBC is one of those environmental nonprofits, which I'm so excited that you're part of 1%. So every year I send you a letter that says Evolution Marketing donated so many hours on X project or program to help the WSBC. And then you give me a letter that I submit to 1% for the Planet. And then they track all of that. And on the 1% for the Planet website, they have it says all the nonprofits we work with, which is just super awesome. So you can track the activities you're doing when you're giving back. And so then you can use that information. You can include that then in a social impact report, or like Lena, my intern, did. She made a little video. So if you go to the front page of the Evolution Marketing website, there's a short little video that talks about the nonprofits that we worked with last year that we gave back to in 2020. Yeah, in the 2020 year, as well as the projects we did and the amount of money we donated back. So that's all there on the website in a cute little video. Now, the cool thing is if you start tracking this stuff over time, you can then use this information as part of your overall marketing strategy. So for example, okay, it's 2021 now. So as part of my marketing strategy in 2021, I tracked the data in 2020. What I'm going to be doing from here on out, the videos are so hot. People love videos. So every year we're going to have a video that talks about our social impacts. I'm also though working on a larger social impact report. That's the 2018 year through 2020 year, that it's not done yet. We're going to the design phase. So it'll be happening this summer. But we take that same information in a full report that we can then publish, and we can also share with potential customers too.
Awesome. Yeah. I think a lot of small businesses don't see reporting as this, big thing that they have to do or could do, or might take too much time for them to actually do. But really just, what you're saying is start small, record and track what you do,
Yep.
and take that and use that for your communication. So whether you make that into a report or not, you can use that to communicate across your stakeholder groups and across different, marketing channels out to your base.
Exactly. And people love to know that your business is giving back, right? And I think most small businesses do give back, because as a small business person, we're part of a community. I'm part of the Oconomowoc Chamber of Commerce, part of the Oconomowoc community. I mean, I want to give back. I want my community to be better, right? So people come to me and say, Lisa, will you help with this? I'm like, sure, we'll help, because we want to do this, right? And so telling that story, just I don't know, it's just part of who we are. But I think it also shows that we're part of the community. I don't know. I believe in maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think for a lot of really small businesses, the micro businesses, right? Like a couple employees, right? It
Mhm.
feels so much better to be a part of this bigger community, because it can be lonely working on your own or with a small team. And so really, you say that you were using the B Corp CEO Women group to really socialize, strategize, like what are people doing? How are they overcoming these challenges, right? So that then becomes a part of your community. I think that's really important for small businesses. And then
Yep.
also like around sustainability, right? So creating groups like that where you can talk about sustainability also.
No, I definitely agree. And I think, growing up on a farm, I mean, maybe I have a different perspective, but everything you do is impacts your community, right? So to me, as a business person, it's my responsibility to help make my community a better place,
Yep.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's just how I think about it.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, last question, Lisa. I'm curious if you have any tips or tricks for sustainability professionals listening to this to maybe help them influence change inside their organization or inside their community, and just more effectively move the needle?
All right. So I did a talk recently where it was Lisa's like, I'm just looking, 5 tips for sustainability practitioners. So I'm going to share those with you because I think in this day and age, so I'm talking summer of 2021, right? These are really relevant things that we as sustainability practitioners can bring to the table. So the first one is finding common language around sustainability within your company. So, for example, some companies that have an international footprint might resonate with the language around the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And so they might say, oh, these 17 SDGs, this is how we want to talk about sustainability in our company. Whereas a small micro business might say, we're going to talk about sustainability through the Green Masters program. And we're going to resonate with the language, the 9 areas of sustainability as defined in the Green Masters program. So figure out what that language is for sustainability in your company. And then make sure that everyone agrees to it. And then use that as your foundation to build out your programming. The second thing is through working interdisciplinarily. So I bring this up because I work in a really interesting space. I'm a sustainability person who works with Marcom as a tool, but I also work with operations and with HR and in with C-suite, right? So I work across a variety of different sectors or specific training, people with specific professional degrees. I work across all of that. So I work interdisciplinarily and multidisciplinarily. So I work with multiple disciplines in an interdisciplinary manner. So it's really building a team that capitalizes on that. And also in many cases, and I've talked to a lot of smaller businesses about this, where you may have 1 or 2 people in a department, having those individuals cross-trained. So you might be sitting in the HR department, but you're also cross-trained on some sustainability stuff, some operational sustainability stuff, or on employee engagement, because that's also going to be important too if your company were to lose workers, right? So having
Mhm.
folks, trained in multiple ways and building those multidisciplinary teams, I think is going to be huge for the future because it's hard to expect one department to tackle sustainability because true system sustainability occurs at the whole system, right? So you have to have all stakeholders involved, right? So having these interdisciplinary teams that with multidisciplinary backgrounds working together is the only way I think you can actually move that sustainability needle in your company. The next one is I think employee engagement initiatives are important, and I think they're going to become even more important post COVID. So, what that means is whether it's creating a green team, a wellness team, putting in a community garden or a workplace garden, but really finding some initiatives and activities that your your employer and your community want to support, and putting those programs into place.
Mhm.
Because workers want to feel like they have a say in what they're doing, but they also, coming out of COVID, they want to make sure they feel healthy and they feel safe and they feel good about where they're working, right?
Right.
So it's kind of thinking about that and putting those really kind of outside the box employee engagement programs into place. The next one is this is kind of a big one in my world. Okay, so a lot of people, when you talk about sustainability, they think it means just environmental. They don't think about the social side. And I think I've said this, but I'm trained as a sociologist. So to me, the social side of sustainability has always been very important. I think that in this day and age, we all, especially sustainability practitioners working in companies, we need to examine our biases about what sustainability is. And we also need to encourage the folks on our green team or that are part of our multidisciplinary team to talk about what their biases are about sustainability. Because many people that I talk to are like, well, we're doing sustainability and they may be doing one facet of the system, and that's really great. And I applaud them for the work that they're doing, but they're not looking at the whole picture. And if you want to, again, to make real lasting change happen, you have to unpack it and look at the whole system. You can't just look at one piece of that system. Okay.
Mhm.
So I would really encourage all of us as sustainability practitioners to unpack our own biases about sustainability and then to work with the leadership at your company to unpack their biases. And this goes back to the first thing I said, creating that common language. Because if everyone in your organization can agree to this common language, then that's what you use to move sustainability forward in the organization.
Mhm.
That is my list.
I like that. Very practical and pragmatic, really. You know, I think sometimes it can be hard to find that language in your company, but once you do, it can really be effective in communicating across departments and, just with all different stakeholders again.
It's so important. I mean, we can I just share with you our
Yeah.
because at our 10-year anniversary, we redid our mission. And so this is our mission now. And this is not just Lisa, right? This is the little evolution marketing team. So our mission is live responsibly, work by example, lead by design, and educate through action. So that mission unites all of the work that we're doing here at Evolution Marketing.
Yeah,
And my team
absolutely. And
loves it.
you do live that, Lisa. You are a walking example for everyone around how they can live their lives more sustainably. I love it. Well, thank you so, so much for taking the time to chat with me today about all of this. You're up to so many amazing things. And I just thank you for your leadership in our community. And if anybody wants to know more about you or how you can help them, where should they go?
Okay, so go to LinkedIn. We have a company page called Evolution Marketing, a certified B Corp company page. So check us out. Follow us. I'm also on LinkedIn, Lisa Geason-Bauer, or go to our Evolution Marketing website, which is greenmkting.com. And as I said earlier, on our website, we created literally my Lena internship project. We created a whole resource section, and we want to help other businesses in Wisconsin have tools and have access to this information. So check it out. Okay. So it's /resources, or just go to the front page of our website. There's a landing page there, and you can learn more about the SDGs and people, planet, and profit side of sustainability. And I mean, we've got lots of great resources. So feel free to use those. And if you have other suggestions, let us know. We can add things to it. We're always adding, as we learn about more tips and tools to the website.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Lisa. We will put those resources in an email to everybody, and we invite you to come back for tomorrow's interview. Thanks for listening.
Thanks. Bye.